And even this idea of being a coach or a business coach, life coach, sharing your wisdom, standing on stages, having books, doing speaking engagements, like all of this that we all want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like sharing your wisdom to the world. There's a payoff for you as well. It feels like something, right? It feels like, I am the woman of my dreams. Frog in my throat, but that is not going to stop the show. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna talk about this pesky imposter syndrome. So I realized this yesterday. No, not yesterday, the day before. When my husband and I were coming back from our closing. It was a very good day. One of the best Mondays I've had in a long time, right? We closed on our previous home that we sold. It was really exciting. It had just sold. We just left the title company and we were going out to a celebratory lunch before my husband actually surprised me with a massage, which was really cool. Side note, I didn't know that Thai massages were a special type of massage, but they're crazy. Don't get one unless you want to be folded up, bent up. But we were doing our lunch and we weren't sure where we were gonna go. We just knew an area here in Houston that looked really cool and it was on the way to my husband's job. And so he's like, oh, do you wanna go to this one restaurant? And I was like, oh no, I eat there all the time. And he's like, what do you mean you eat there all the time? And I'm like, oh, well, when I come to this area, to my co-working space, I love that restaurant. It's very shishi-poo. I'll like treat myself and go get a little lunch. So I make that a treat. Every time I go to my co-working space, I always eat there. My husband was like, dude, what you mean you eat there basically like every day for the last few weeks? And I'm like, cause that's what I do. When I come to my co-working space, I treat myself. And so he laughs because we're in separate cars because he had come from work. I had met him at the title company and he's shaking his head laughing and he's like, you know you live a pretty good life, don't you? You live a good life, like don't complain, And I laughed and I was like, I do, but here's the thing. I've always lived like this. And that's when the light bulb went on and I was like, see, this is what people have been missing. And I was always so perplexed, even coming up as a new coach when I was just getting started, because people repeatedly would ask me the question, like, how do you get the confidence though to do what you do? Like even when I was working full time, because I was working full time and I was like taking paid time off and like flying to New York to host different events. I would show up online. People who were interested in coming into this world, they would always say like, but how do you just like put yourself out there? Like, aren't you nervous or like, where did you get the confidence to just do this? Especially because again, I didn't have a coaching certification or anything. And I could not understand like what people were asking me because it seemed so like, what do you mean? Like, why would I be nervous to do this? Like, this is what I want to do. Like, why would I? Literally, it would like over my, I tried to answer the question, but I didn't understand what they were asking. And when my husband was joking with me, kind of picking on me, like, oh, look at you eating at the shishi-poo restaurant every day. You live a good life. And I'm like, boo, I always lived like this, okay? Even when I didn't have no money, I was still, getting Groupons and going to restaurant week or eating off the lunch menu and getting an appetizer. And like, I was doing what I needed to do in order to have this experience. And I was like, that is the point. From the very beginning, I have always made sure that I felt like somebody who does this work in this industry. I made sure my life felt like, oh, I'm a life and business coach. I'm a success. I have interesting things to say. What would that person, how would they live their life? I've always made it a point to live that way. I would thrift shop. I remember I went to this one thrift store. I want to say it was like on 16th and 14th and U Street. Shout out to my people who from the DC area and know all about U Street. It's not the same. It's not how it was when I grew up there or when I was in school there. But anyway, looking for a winter coat because I did not have a winter coat and I literally had like $20 to buy one. Don't you know, I still have it. I should have brought it in here. I still have it because it's that fly. I found this Club Monaco winter coat. Yo, this jacket, I'm not even kidding. It is so bad. Like, and I mean that it's so good. It's got this like kind of tweed fabric, but it had this like fur collar and it's long. It's like midi length and it was like slim. And then it had this like tie waist. It had like this like trench coat thing. I felt like such a boss in that coat. And I remember buying this coat for like $5 or $10. This coat was so nice that even the woman checking me out at the thrift store was like, oh my goodness, where did you find this? I didn't even know we had this. This coat is amazing. She was like, please, when it gets colder, can you please wear this coat and come back and show me, like come back to the thrift store just so we can see you in this coat, because this coat is immaculate and I still have this coat. I remember I wore this coat years ago to my mom's like 50th birthday party with her and my stepdad, all their like fancy business friends at the at a like golf club or whatever. And these women would come in with like these big minks and they all stopped me and they were like, where did you get this coat from? Like, I'll trade you my mink for this coat. And I'm like, can't have this. This coat has history. It means something to me. But I say that to say, in addition to prioritizing, do the things, you know, show up online and create the content and be visible and do the Facebook ads and write the captions and do all the work that you should do in your business, we forget the reason why we're doing all of this, right? We're doing all of this ultimately because we want to feel something. What do we want to feel? We want to feel accomplished. We want to feel success. And this might just be me. I always want to feel like I am that chick for me, right? Growing up, I've always had a vision in my head of what not only it would look like to be like the pinnacle type woman that I want to be for myself, but what it would feel like when the 90s supermodels would grace the runways and it would be Naomi Campbell and Tyra Banks and they would have that walk and they'd be doing that thing. And I was like, what, 6 years old, 7 years old? And I would just be mesmerized by these women because they were like feminine, but they weren't girly. Like they were womanly, but they were like powerful and they had these like striking, and that was like burned in my brain where I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I grow up, but I need to do something that allows me to feel like that. And even this idea of being a coach or a business coach, life coach, sharing your wisdom, standing on stages, you know, having books, doing speaking engagements, like all of this that we all want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like sharing your wisdom to the world, there's a payoff for you as well. It feels like something, right? It feels like, I am the woman of my dreams. And if there's one thing I've been really good at from the beginning of my journey, it's that I have made sure that my life felt like that. My life felt like I was that girl, even when I was just getting started. Even if I had to go to a thrift store and get this used Club Monaco coat, but the coat had the fox fur trim on it, and I was gonna be bopping down the street in DC like I was something, because I needed to feel like something in order to show up and be something. And that's the thing. So many of you are trying to show up and be a way that you don't feel in your real life. And so it's important that you prioritize that, even in your ascension, right? So many of us keep wondering, when are we gonna get more followers? When are we gonna have more people paying attention to us or giving us credibility or, you know, doing all of these things, not realizing part of it is your energy, right? And this is deep. This goes into what I'm actually teaching in my magnetic marketing, which, side note, if you're in my magnetic marketing, remember we have a training today at 4:30 all about content. Really excited about it. But part of this is this energy in terms of how you show up. And so many of us are trying to show up with so much like, you know, information, but we're not showing up with any energy behind the information because our real life does not feel away. It does not look away. I remember when I was living in a row house with 6 girls, again, at Howard, we had 2 mice that lived in the house that would come out at night and run around and get in the trap. I mean, it was like horrendous, right? My bedroom wasn't even a bedroom because it didn't have a closet. It was literally 8 by 11. Don't you know, I went to IKEA and got a bunk bed and cut, like literally took a saw and cut the metal part off the bottom so I could put a desk under that bunk bed, and I decorated it like Parisian whatever. I hadn't even been to Paris, I hadn't even been to Europe, but that was part of my dream. I was like, man, I want to be the type of woman that dresses super cute and fashionable and lives a certain kind of way and has the ability to travel. So I took my refund check. It was the most money I'd ever spent. I took my refund check for $1,000, got a guy with a van to like meet me up, like, let's go to Maryland, let's go to IKEA and get all this stuff. And I decked it out because I needed to wake up feeling a certain kind of way, you know? Part of the reason why I had the confidence to then blog about the things I was doing, even though on paper I didn't have the achievements, I didn't have the accomplishments, was because I was bringing the energy of a woman who was living her dreams. And so here's the thing. So many of us count ourselves out because we feel like we're not the best, right? We look at whatever, other people in our space, other people who are doing things, and we compare what we have to them, right? Oh, my logo doesn't look as good as hers. Oh, my pictures aren't as pretty. Oh, my this, oh, my that, right? We put this, that's the best, and we're here, and so we're just gonna hide until miraculously we can show up one day and then we can be at that level. That's not how it works. The thing is, you have to do your best every day at the level that you are at, but understand that your best gets better. My best got better, right? I went from buying $5 coats at the thrift store, but I did my best. I didn't get just any coat. I got that Club Monaco coat that I still got to this day. 10 years later, that's a bad coat. I still wore it, right? I did my best then. My best was taking my refund check at IKEA and decking out my bedroom that wasn't even a bedroom. It was like a office with no closet. I did take the linen closet across the hall, but I did my best, and it made me feel a certain way. I remember flying down the Dallas tollway because I was always late to work, and I would just imagine, I would literally tell myself, I'm not going to work right now. I'm going to a meeting with my first client. My first client is downtown. And when I'm done with this client, then I'm gonna go back to wherever I came from and I'm gonna be doing. I would make believe in my head. I would put on the music that I would listen to if I was actually heading downtown to a VIP day. What's my little music that I'd be bopping to? I would dress cute to work because I'm like, I ain't coming to work. Y'all my first client. You don't realize this. You're the client that pays me, okay? I'm not at work. I am a consultant. I am a life coach. Like, you have to do this in your head. And I think so many of us are waiting for somebody to like give us permission, or we feel like that's crazy, or we're sold this model of you have to sacrifice, right? And you do at times, but the sacrifice don't have to feel sacrificial, okay? Right? But ultimately, all coaching roads lead to having your best life, living your best life. And people are looking at you subconsciously. They might not say it, but they're looking at you to see honestly if you're operating in integrity. And so really this imposter thing is not so much a credibility thing. This is what people miss. They think it's a credibility. I feel like an imposter. I don't have the credentials. Let me go back to school. It's not a credibility thing. It's a spark thing. It's the zest for life thing, right? It's a feeling, okay? You can live that feeling. You can live that life. You can have that no matter what level you're at. In fact, your ability to do it at the level that you are at is more powerful and is more of a testimony to people than you waiting until you hit up here. Because here's the deal. Once you get here, which again, it doesn't work like that because you're never going to get here if you don't master this down here. But theoretically, if you wait until you get here and then you start showing up and being the person and doing all of the things, people are going to look at you and be like, girl, of course it's easy for you to do that. Like, you a millionaire, you been quit your job, you know. You can live your best life now. Your best will get better. I have the real Peloton. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. All right. But best believe, since 2014, 2015, I had a spin bike off Amazon, okay? And I would take this iPhone or that iPad and I would prop it up, you know? Didn't even have the holder, jerry-rigging the thing, putting double-sided tape, trying to get the thing on. And I'd be riding on my Peloton, still living that life. The things I do now, I did back then. That's why I don't feel like an imposter, because I've been the same person the entire time. Start doing it now, okay? So that is my lesson. Let me go get my child. I'll see you guys in a bit. Those of you who want to follow me on Peloton, I'm CourtneyLSanders, so half my name, Court, C-O-U-R-T, L Sanders, and bye.